Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Spicy Adventures. Um, Today I'll be talking a little bit about ownership of my KTM 390 adventure. I just broke 5,000 miles, so it's been great. It's been a absolutely fantastic 5,000 miles, and I wanted to share a little bit with you guys that some information that maybe some of you guys are thinking about getting. I think it makes a great little adventure bike. Plenty of modifications you can buy to kind of personalize and make it your own. So I got my SW Motec urban bags on it. I have these Baja Design S1 lights. I got my Air Max screen. I got my Barkbusters handguards. I'm probably going to get some upper crash bars for it. It comes stock with those lower crash bars that are okay, but I want to get something a little bit more protection wise. And SW Motec makes some pretty cool upper crash bars that connect to the OEM bars here and kind of go over to give it some upper protection, and then probably eventually get some engine guards as well. I haven't made any changes to the foot pegs or the handlebars or anything. Maybe later when I get more experience riding off-road. It seems to fit me okay. I'm only 5'6", and 150 pounds, so the ergonomics seem okay for now. The bars could probably be a little bit higher, just so I can reach the controls a little bit easier when I'm fully standing up. Done a couple dirt runs on it, and it's been fine for the most part. I'm pretty comfortable standing up on it. And I know a lot of people complain about the foot pegs and how they're kind of tilted forward, but it doesn't seem to bother me too much. But I could definitely tell that the taller riders need the more flat pegs and the more raised handlebars, because it is a pretty small bike. But when you walk up to it, it's pretty tall. I have a 30-inch inseam. I'm absolutely on my tippy toes when I am straddled on the bike. I really have to shift my butt off to the side if I want to get like one solid foot down. So that's something to think about if you're a shorter rider. If you have a less than a 30-inch inseam, this bike's gonna be really tall for you. They do make a lowering kit from factory that you can buy. I almost bought it, but I adjusted to it and it seems fine now. So I don't think I'm gonna lower it anymore. I think I'm just gonna leave it the way it is and just have fun on it, because I love the ergonomics. I love how it tracks on the road and on the dirt. Yeah, haven't had any problems. This is Road 236 going into Big Basin. Decided to take you guys out on a little different route today and start at a different spot. As you can see, this huge tree here is pretty cool. And yeah, just this road turns into a no-lane road pretty much, and you got to be careful on a lot of blind corners and stuff. But there's a really good top of the hill Vista Point area that I wanted to show you guys while I talk about some of my likes and not likes about the KTM 390 Adventure. There's not a whole lot that I don't like about it. Again, this is my first adventure bike. I've been owning sport bikes for the majority of my riding years, which started around, I want to say 2015, 2016, somewhere around there was when I first started learning how to ride. And yeah, so this is my first adventure bike. I bought it in July of this year, 2024, from Santa Rosa. From Factory Power Sports in Santa Rosa. They're a great little dealership there as well. They let me pretty much just walk in and do zero down and just take it. Again, I bought it with 85 miles, and now I have 5,000, just barely over 5,000 miles on it. So, it was pretty much brand new when I got it. And they gave me a killer deal on it, $5,800, right? No cash down, just sign the paperwork and walk away. So you can't really beat that deal. I feel, so um, yeah, I just had to jump on it because I've been contemplating on getting something different other than my Aprilia RS 660, and I think this is the perfect complement. I bought this as a backup bike, but now this has kind of become my main bike. I like to ride this one a lot more than the Aprilia for everyday use. The gas is cheap. It does long distance really well. It's pretty comfortable to ride. The power delivery is surprisingly really, really good for a single cylinder. And the 40 plus horsepower it has is more than enough for what this bike can do. Yeah, I wish I had a little bit more power, but it's quick enough. It's definitely quick enough to for me not to be concerned about, especially jumping on the freeway and getting away from a stoplight, things of that nature. It can definitely get that job done. The SW Motec bags, it's a full rack system that I bought, and you can see there's no straps on here. This is a really cool 3-point mounting system that they use, and you can unlock and lock the bags from the inside with no keys. So that's really cool. I like that. This bag is expandable. It fits my full-size helmet in there. Even my Arai XD5 that I'm wearing right now, even with the Peak bill on it, it fits in there. So pretty cool. Yeah, they aren't very good at being waterproof, so they do come with waterproof bags as well. So that's a big plus for these SW Motec bags. They are pretty pricey. They're about $1,000 for this entire set here. So make sure you want to spend that kind of money before you do. Sure, there's other systems that are much cheaper, but I really wanted a strapless system, stuff that I could just lock and unlock without a key. And and they make other bags that fit onto the system as well. And I'm planning to buy some of the soft bags that can fill the role. And just when I'm planning to do more off-road stuff, put the soft bags on and take these hard bags off, because obviously when you fall over, these are probably going to break, because they're not soft. They're not going to be able to compress, when you take a spill. So yeah, but for now I just kind of use them as my commuting bags when I go to work and things of that nature. So they work perfectly well for that. I took off the deflector down here and made it just kind of like it kind of has a quote-unquote built-in fender eliminator, right? So I kind of like that. I did that, and that suffices, so I don't have to spend money on a fender eliminator kit on it at all. The cup holder is kind of cool. I like that little thing that I put on. I have a screen protector for the TFT display. Yeah, and the mirrors are still stock. I'm still planning to maybe get some mirrors that can fold, because I've seen a lot of people switch them out just in case you fall over as well, right? You don't want to break your mirrors. So yeah, got some spools on there, of course. Yeah, but it's it's got some modifications to it. The stock suspension I've left the same. I haven't tried modifying or messing with the suspension yet. It feels pretty good for my riding style right now. I don't feel like I have to make it stiffer or softer or anything like that, which again, it'll come with more experience when the time comes. I'll adjust the suspension accordingly, and maybe it'll feel even better by then. So who knows. But as for right now, the stock shock and the stock forks, the way that they are set, seems to fit me just fine. I have a quad lock system on here. I used to run the Ram mounts on my older bikes, but since I tried the quad lock, I'm not going back to the Ram X. The quad lock is far superior. I love how the phone locks into place. I didn't go with the wireless charging because I'm just not a fan of that. I just, I don't mind the wire charging. Eventually probably get like a GPS unit as well. The KTM 390 comes with this really cool plate mounting system here that you can remove, and you can add a GPS mount system there. So maybe that was something I'll look into as well, and probably get a couple different GPS units. One that's satellite nav, just in case I get out into the middle of nowhere and I have like no signal anywhere. I also do I download offline maps on my phone as well to help me out on those times when I do need directions. Well, I'm getting pretty used to the Bay Area out here and the roads and what direction I'm heading. So yeah, I pride myself on kind of knowing where I am and knowing kind of where to go without having to always look at a map or something. And you guys should too. You guys should really get to learn roads and know where they go, because sometimes you can't always depend on that technology. And then here is my throttle lock cruise control. It works pretty well. I like this a lot. It's a very cheap add-on. It's pretty sleek and discreet. The way it works is you just roll your throttle back and you roll the throttle lock forward, and then it holds the throttle in place. And that's kind of cruise control there. And then to shut it off, you just twist forward, and now the cruise control is off, and you can just throttle like normal again, and this kind of moves around like that. So yeah, pretty cool. It has all these little tightening clips on it where you can tighten it down to your liking, and if it's still kind of moving around a little bit, when you're trying to set it. For the wiring for the S1 Baja lights, the kit came with a switch that I kind of just shoved into. There's like a little holder. There's like a little wire holder here for the forks, and that's where my switch I kind of put on there. Let me turn it on for you guys. So they're a standalone system. I can turn them on and off as I please. They're just directly hooked to the battery. I was hoping that the kit would have came with an aux plug, but unfortunately it didn't. So that's just the way I'm going to run it for now, because I'm pretty good at remembering to turn them off and stuff. Haven't left them on yet, so yeah, I like to look back at my bike quite often, when I'm walking away, just to make sure that everything's in its place, right? The bike's not gonna tip over, or all my lights are off, and or I didn't forget, make sure I didn't forget to close and lock the bags. I have these really cool locks that are for these SW Motec system bags as well. They're TSA approved. Let me show you guys. These little locks that are TSA approved here. It comes with a little key card that slots into here, and it just pops them open. So pretty cool. No combos to remember, right? And the little key card I just put onto my keychain right here. As you can see, that's the little Talon key card. So pretty cool, And when you buy these locks, you can choose from 1 or 2 or 4 locks, right? And then they all come with a bunch of key cards, big ones and little ones, so you can put some in your wallet if you want. You can put some small ones on your keychain. I have one in my wallet, and I have one on the keychain just in case one of them breaks or I lose one or something. Then at least I have a backup. The wires for the S1 lights, forgot to mention, they're pretty easy to run. The KTM has a very easily pass-throughable system here for all the wires. They just kind of come through and under the tank here into the seat, and you can tuck them away pretty nicely under the seat here. So yeah, pretty happy with them. They're super bright. I can see everything at night when I turn them on. So that's something I really enjoy. It has made my night riding experience very enjoyable, because sometimes I get off work pretty late, on the days that I ride, and riding home through these mountains at like 1 in the morning is no problem at all. It lights up the entire road. I can see everything. So yeah, but that's a little bit about the ownership, right? And some of the mods that I've done. Said in the 5,000 miles I've had it, I've kind of ridden it mostly in the mountains. Ridden it to my hometown Fresno, once. That was a nice little fun ride. You know, it handles the freeway just fine. It does, you know, 70, 75 miles an hour like all day, you know, pretty easily. So liquid detected. Uh-oh. Let me take that out. I was detecting some liquid on there. But yeah, so I really like this bike so far, you know, for my traveling purposes, you know, and yeah, it does a great job, you know, for what I needed to do. Yeah, I don't regret buying the bike at all. You know, it's got really cool ride modes. You know, I mostly ride it in off-road mode. You know, the off-road mode kind of turns down the ABS a little bit, and you know, it turns down the traction control a little bit. You can completely turn them off if you want to, but you know, I feel like it doesn't really need to get it fully turned off or anything. So yeah, so it works just fine the way it is. And even in the off-road section, when I have the off-road mode on, I can skid the rear tire with the brakes. And that's kind of fun, you know, learning how to do stuff like that. So yeah, let's get on the road here. The bike's pretty tall, so I usually have to use the foot peg to jump on, you know, which is kind of the way you want to do it if you're a shorter rider. Because trying to swing your leg over while the bike is on the ground can be pretty tough. But if you can use the pegs of the bike to get up on it, it's pretty easy. You know, I haven't had any major issues with the bike ever, like stalling or starting weird, right, or not want to start. I've done one oil change at 3,000 miles. Oil change on this bike is very fun to do, in my opinion. You know, KTM sells a nice little kit that replaces a lot of the components, which is, you know, I thought was very clever. You know, you end up replacing like bolts and gaskets and filters, and yeah, and I really appreciate that. That was super slick from KTM to have a little kit. And for such a small engine, you know, I was surprised how thick of an oil that KTM uses. You know, I believe it's like a 15W30 or something like that KTM uses on this little single cylinder. And yeah, that's kind of, you know, new to me. You know, I don't know if all KTMs are like that or not, but you know, even their bigger bikes. But this one, you know, the recommended is to use that thicker oil. Whereas in my Aprilia, you know, my Aprilia uses really thin oil compared to this. And my Aprilia uses like 5W20 or something like that, you know. The bike is so easy to handle through these tight stuff. And we got somebody on the side of the road here. Looks like they might be just enjoying the view of things. It's so much to see up here. It's so beautiful, this road 236 here that goes into the Big Basin National Park. I haven't gone to the park yet, like, you know, the paid entrance, but I've been through this road a few times just to kind of hang out and, you know, relax. Again, pay attention to these blind corners here. I usually enter them pretty gingerly, and I try to hug the right side of the road here when I can't see through the turn. It rained here over the weekend. I wasn't home, I was in Fresno over the weekend. But I can still see there's, you know, a little bit of dampness here and there. And the road's kind of dirty, but not terrible. There's still plenty of grip. You know, this bike seems to power along pretty good in higher gears, right? Like third gear seems pretty usable. I don't have to switch to second a lot on a lot of these tighter turns. I can kind of stay in third and be just fine. The gearing's pretty short. I appreciate KTM for doing that. I know a lot of people switch the sprocket and stuff to the 14 tooth just to get a little bit more punch down low, but then you lose some top end. And right now I kind of like the top end for a lot of my, I do mostly asphalt riding, and just I kind of do my dirt riding for leisure. So I don't, I feel like I don't need to do that type of stuff yet until I start getting a lot more experience on the dirt roads. Handling wise, the bike chassis is built off of the 390 Duke, right? So it's very good. It eats up these corners. So if you're a street rider and you want a little bit more street biased motorcycle, but also is very, very capable off-road, and you want a light motorcycle, this should be high on your list. I think it's way better than a lot of the other bikes that are offered right now, like the Kawasaki Versys 300X, right? And CF Moto just came out with their new 400cc adventure bike. Haven't had a chance to ride that at all, but I can't see it being a whole lot better than this bike. Again, it kind of depends on what you guys want to do out there with your riding. And I felt that this bike fits the bill in every way of what I needed to do. Right? Mostly commuting to work, the occasional, off-road use here and there, and then I eventually want to go camping and find some definite dirt roads, less traveled, and then go camp like next to like a lake or something. I think that's just be the ultimate experience. Moto camping, starting to buy a bunch of gear for camping. I got like a sleeping bag and a really nice tent. So yeah, I can't wait to try some of that. My KTM is not equipped with the quick shifter and auto blipper. Kind of something I'm probably going to add maybe next year sometime, maybe for Christmas or something. It's a fairly expensive mod that already exists on the bike, and they just have to unlock it. It's gonna be around like 300 bucks. Take it to the shop and for them to turn it on. There was a fire through here like a couple years ago, so a lot of the trees are very black from the trunk up, but it seems like a lot of the forest has recovered. Like you see these trees, these are pretty black on the bottom here, and you look off to the distance here, you can see a bunch of the trees burned. Yeah, nature is pretty resilient. Nature's pretty resilient. Yeah, sometimes riding just these slow back roads is just so relaxing to me. I'm not worried about speed. Just relaxing, just having a good old time. I haven't ridden the Aprilia through here at all. I don't really want to, Don't really want to ride it through here. Probably wouldn't be that fun riding through stuff like this. The seat on this motorcycle isn't the softest thing in the world. but it's wide. So with it being wide, it's comfortable enough for me anyway, right? I mean, everybody's got a little bit of different opinion on what is comfortable and what is not. But for me, it tends to work just fine. Like I said, on my road trip to Fresno on it, seemed just fine. Yeah, my bum was a little tired, but you know, but it never made me want to absolutely get off the bike. Yeah, the bike hasn't skipped a beat at all in these 5,000 miles I've owned it. You know, not a drop of oil, not a single check engine light. That never had the engine cut out on me. Yeah, I know that those were some of the problems that people were having on these 390 Adventures, especially the engine cutting out, you know. But this bike has never done it. Mine's a 2023, and I know that it happened a lot on the previous models. Oh, it's so beautiful. I just love it. It's pretty cold. This bike doesn't tell me the temperature though, not like my Aprilia does. My Aprilia would tell me how cold it is. I wish this bike had that. You know, it's an adventure bike. It should tell you the weather. Here comes a big truck coming. Gotta be on your toes, guys. Hope you guys are having a beautiful day. So the gear I'm wearing is the KTM Power Parts, well, Power Wear, I'm sorry. I have the KTM Power Wear Apex jacket and Apex pants. I have my KTM Tech 7 boots. And then I have more KTM Power Wear gauntlet gloves here, also the Apex version. And then my helmet is the Arai XD5. You know, this helmet was a little finicky at first, but you know, I was able to peel off the little 5mm layers that are on the top of the head, and now it seems to fit me really well, where before I would get these tiny little pressure points on the top of my head, but they all seem to have disappeared. So I'm very, very happy with this helmet now. It's a little heavier than I would like, you know, and I get it, it's like Snell rated and, you know, hand laid and all that stuff, but man, I just wish it was a couple grams lighter. So, you know, if there's one knock on this Arai helmet, it is the weight. So here's my little vista point area I like to pull off and just kind of chill out. And this is where I'm going to end the video, you guys. But before I do, you know, I want to show you guys just this beautiful view. Get the kickstand down. Lean the bike over. Again, use the foot pegs to get off because it's a pretty tall bike. Turn the lights off and switch the key off. Look at that view, guys. Absolutely glorious. Such a peaceful day. I kind of needed this. Had a little bit of a rough weekend, but nothing like a calm ride in the mountains to kind of, you know, clear your head a little bit and you know, make you appreciate life again and stuff. You realize that there's so much more out here than just work and, you know, and stress and stuff, you know, and just take a day at a time and just enjoy it. Enjoy views like this, and yeah, there's always tomorrow. Right? There's always a better day. Thanks you guys for joining another episode of Spicy Adventures, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.